Cornish Witch podcast. I'm your host, Freyja, a witch who lives in Cornwall, but who isn't a born and bred Cornish maid. In this episode, I interview the lovely Michelle, or Chell as I like to call her. She is first and foremost a lovely friend of mine, a psychic medium, a witch, and the owner of the company Little White Spells. Our conversation explores the intricate journey of spiritualism, touching on personal experiences, including Chell's mental health journey that led her to her spiritual awakening, the significance of protection magic, and the healing power of Reiki. We discuss the importance of community and workshops in spiritual practice, delve a little into Cornish folklore, and reflect on the connection of the land. Our conversation emphasises the individuality of spiritual journeys, energy work, and the necessity of trusting one's intuition. I hope you all enjoy. Chell from Little White Spells.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
my lovely friend. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to come on, and thank you for inviting me into your lovely home.
That's okay.
And it's just so nice. I'm just looking around your beautiful living room. Do you call it a broomstick or a besom? Because some people have two
a
different
besom,
things.
a besom. If
Yeah,
I
it's
pronounce that
beautiful.
right. Yeah. And I've got obviously all my witchy books, my little altar. Well, many altars.
Many
you know.
altars.
Many altars.
I love it.
Even if you look at the windowsills, there's always an altar. Lots of different things, lots of natural stuff as well, and skulls.
Yeah. And I can see your antlers outside, which are stunning. And for anyone listening, the antlers were dropped by Chell's deer.
Quickly saw.
Yeah, they shedded them on their own.
Yeah. After they finished rutting, they dropped.
Okay, so the first thing I want to get started with really is, how did your journey into spiritualism start?
Well, this is quite an interesting one because I've been asked that so many times, and I always start off with the same thing. My breakdown in 2018, but actually I'm going to strip it to when I was a young age. When I say young, I'm probably going to say 5 from my earliest experience that I can remember, and that was back in my hometown of Tor Point, when I lived in the cul-de-sac. I just remember sitting on my bed and seeing people, seeing spirits talking to me, having sort of experiences that way. But that was always classed as your imaginary friend. So actually, they were showing me stuff like how to astral travel. That's what I've learned now. Yeah. So all that kind of experiences and that. But back when you're younger, like I said, you always get told, oh, it's imaginary friends, all that kind of stuff. So I've had a lot of experiences from that age on and off. And then would just see orbs, hear my name being called, seeing things out the corner of my eye, and then just getting this real strong sense of knowing and feeling. But every time it felt like it ramped up, it calmed down again. And then if I'm really honest, I started getting into a little bit of crystals. Mum had tarot cards. And then life kind of took me on a different journey, sort of from 16, you go out partying and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that stuff just kind of went to the side. Always was sort of interested in psychics and readings, and had a few readings over years from 16 upwards. Well, I say 16, 18 upwards. So it was kind of like that was still sort of in the background, but very not prominent. When I was in quite a hefty relationship, I'm going to say, well, not a very nice one, I had an awakening, and it was pretty full on. But at the same time as I opened up, I was seeing angels, I was seeing spirits, you name it. I was seeing, hearing, feeling, you name it. But it freaked the fucking shit out of me. Yeah. And I actually went to a psychic shop, and I saw a witch. And I was saying what I seen and hearing, and she was saying, where do you live? And I was telling her, and she's like, well, that's a bit of a ley line. Calling your guides. I'm like, what you on about? Because this is all sort of new. She gave me candles to work with, and sort of the sage and stuff like that. And I ended up clearing my own property, which is going to be quite relevant for what I actually do in today's work. So basically went home, did everything that she asked me to do, and literally that night there was nothing whatsoever. I wasn't scared to get up to go to the bathroom, wasn't seeing stuff, wasn't hearing stuff. Obviously my relationship broke down. Actually, that was what was needed. And then that was it then. I think I literally, because it did scare me, it really, really did. That was it. But then fast forward, 2018, I must have been, 32? I sound old now, don't I? too. I actually had a real detrimental breakdown. I mean, I had years of abusive relationships, substance misuse, and a lot of trauma that actually was just piling on top of each other, but was never resolved because I was very good at suppressing it and putting on that brave face. And then obviously I was a whistleblower, worked so many hours, night shifts, you name it. And I think just, I went off at work with stress and anxiety. Unfortunately, it was due to workplace bullying. And I think that month off from work, just one night, one weekend, my brain just went basically good night. And it was, I had a breakdown basically. And it was, I suppose, what people would class as psychotic that weekend. But at the same time, things were ramping up in the background. I was seeing angels, I was seeing auras on people, I was seeing colours, I was hearing stuff. I was actually being told or downloading information, however you want to call it, channeling, and then phoning up my friends saying, is this happening to you? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, how do you know that, Michelle? I haven't seen you in like a year. And I'm like, oh, never mind. Do you know what I mean? Because it was such a time of stress, a breakdown, the whole caboodle, not being unwell, all this trauma coming up, because the brain, obviously the body decided actually you're going to deal with it. But at the same time, I was then just having an awakening. And everyone that, well, I say everyone, if you don't know, the line between psychosis and a breakdown and the signs and symptoms, they overlap big time. So I'm not saying that I wasn't unwell, because I definitely was, and I got the help that I needed, I got the therapy that I needed. I had a spiritual awakening on top. So where I was being guided through dark nights of the soul, I was actually seeing beautiful things as well, which led me on my big spiritual journey. It was like everything opened up, and I had to learn to ground, protect myself, but I had to get the help as well.
Yes.
And that is obviously from the mental health side.
Yeah.
But I was quite fortunate in the end to find the right people on the spiritual side, because that was a journey within itself, finding the right people.
That sounds like such an intense...
It was
intense and very frightening at times journey.
Do you know what? It was, because I remember, right, and I'm happy to share this experience. I was back living with my parents at the time, and little things are happening. You know what it's like when you work night shifts. Everyone gets scared on night shifts. And I'm like, who's that person walking down the corridor? Where they've gone, and all this kind of stuff. And we would always talk about spirit stuff, as you do. Yeah. And it's just strange things would start to happen when I was on. And people were like, I'm not going to be working with her because, strange things happen. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. And, then I got told, obviously, I was a bit like a battery for energy. But yeah, a lot of spiritual stuff was starting to happen. I was starting to, I can't explain it, just understand things or know things that people didn't know. And I'm like, well, how did I know that? At that time that I was basically sat at my parents, and I just felt the energy shake around me. Not the furniture, like my auric field. What I felt like was like energy being stripped off, and at the same time I was just seeing these vortexes of colour, and then I was hearing voices, and then voices wasn't very pleasant, and obviously that was the start of the breakdown. But at the same time I was also seeing spirit telling me that I was going to be all right. So it was like that real fine line, like balance. So it was scary, but basically the way that I can only explain it, and from having mediums from previous medium who said basically they weren't going to take my money, and they couldn't do, basically I was having a breakdown, but I was also having an intense spiritual awakening, which I thought that was really kind of them to...
Very ethical as well.
Absolutely. They give me grounding sprays, they give me some tourmaline, and they basically just said, look after yourself. And, without going into the podcast, they brought people through that, and I never knew this medium, by the way. They wouldn't have known who I was. There was no way they could have known the information that they knew and the people that were in spirit. And they basically brought every Tom, Dick and Harry through, saying, you are not well. You've got a lot of trauma that is coming up, but you're having a spiritual awakening. So yes, very, very ethical, which is where I stand on my moral grounds today with mental health and all that lot. But yeah, it was a scary ride, but at the same time, very enlightening, because there was also no boundaries. Do you know what I mean? So it was like everything had opened up. It was just like, and there was no going back from it from that point. No shutting down. It was like, you are now open. enjoy the ride.
It's going to be a hell of a ride.
Strap yourself in, like literally. And it was a bumpy ride, you know, there was many dark times, but them layers need to be shifted. And I think that energy vibration was a bit like the auric field, it contracted, and it was literally like, this is your time. You can either go one way or the other without being, you know, taking your own life, or you can choose to heal. And that's what it was like.
Thank you for being so open and sharing that. And I love how open you are about it anyway, because we are friends. We spent, you know, a lot of time together, and I love how open you are. And I think it's really, really healthy. But you're also sharing this on a podcast, and you're talking about some very vulnerable moments. And I just want to say thank you.
I mean, not being like rude, like, or I don't want to come across as being rude. I think sometimes, this is just my own personal opinion, by the way, some people think spiritual awakenings are all love and light, and it really is not sometimes. Like, a lot of it can be from trauma. It could be that you are just, you know, switched on from spirit. And just, you know, I'm not saying like everyone is going to go through what I went through, so I don't want anyone to be like, oh my God.
It's a completely individual and unique experience for everyone. It's totally different.
But there are dark nights for some people, and it was the awakening, or the reawakening, the realignment to who I was actually meant to be, you know. And I will say now, that breakdown was actually my biggest breakthrough. Yeah. And I am very, I can't believe I'm actually saying it, grateful for it now. Back then I wouldn't have been. But a totally different story. Yeah, it's not always all these love and light. You know. Well, I'm saying that and meditate and everything like that. I went through a shit time, but it was a bumpy journey.
Yeah. And you came out the other side.
Absolutely.
So I know that you are, and I love it actually, that you are shit hot on your protection magic, and I have done workshops with you, and I have had sessions with you as well, and you have helped me so much with protection magic. And I would like for us to have a chat about that, and also for our listeners out there who either are practitioners or are interested in the craft and then want to sort of, you know, start their own journey. How can they protect themselves, because it is so important?
Absolutely. Energy doesn't lie, and no matter what anyone says, you know, this is even backed up by science. We are energy, so you cannot disperse that. Well, you know what I mean? It just moves on. I learned the hard way with protection magic, especially with my own energy and working with the spirit realms. What I do, because obviously I work a lot with spirit release and a lot with the darker energies. So the first thing that I would always say, okay, and whether people believe it or not, because again, everyone's individual, when working with spirit, okay, or doing anything, ground yourself.
Yeah.
And protect your space. You can always start off by your simple stuff like bubbling, shielding your home, keeping your energy clear. That is sort of like the first thing that I would say before you start delving in. I will always do energetically what I need to do to protect myself, especially if under threat or anything like that. It doesn't normally get like that, but yeah, I don't know really where you want me to go with it or what I do, because I feel like I don't necessarily...
What would you, if people, you say the word bubbling, what does that mean?
Right, so exactly, so for me, if I was to ground myself, so basically I always cleanse my space. All right, always keep my space energetically clear. Yes, I do use smudge, but I use lavender. I make my own essential oil sprays with witch hazel and stuff like that. If I remember, so I don't always work with the moon. I will put stuff out to charge, like water with some crystals and that in, and then I know how to blend with essential oils because I took a course in that. Again, you have to be careful what essential oils you use, especially with people and dogs and that as well. So I'll always cleanse my space, and then when I ground myself, it's always like the tree, imagining the tree roots, and being strong and within the present moment. And also as well, when I say about being protection as well, I always use my body as my biggest barometer. Yeah. So I know people use crystals and that and herbs, but my body will also tell me when stuff is off. But sorry, getting back to the bubbling, I visualize myself in a big bubble, and that can be, if you hear that chewing, that's my dog, by the way. Sorry, just Doris chewing in the background.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. We're just,
anytime there's a treatment, she likes to chew her thing.
Yeah, she's enjoying a little chew and just enjoying the conversation.
So yeah, I always visualize myself in a bubble. All right, so I have different bubbles for different things. So if I'm working with clients, I'll put myself into, I don't know, maybe a blue bubble. I'll see that's protective. I could put myself in a white bubble, and I would do that to deflect any negative or unwanted energies. And I will change this several times throughout the day. If I'm going to like a supermarket or a festival, anything like that, I am very sensitive to energy. So where before I'd party all the time, go to big raves, like go back to big house parties, that would never affect me. If I was to do that now, I can tell you this now, I'd probably be shaken by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that protection is keeping my space and energy clean, and that as well.
Yeah.
And also your health is a big one as
well. Yeah, because your body is a temple.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's what you feed it and that as well. So I do that with all the bubbling. So I visualize that. I visualize it around people I love, my house. So that's just one step of the protection magic. Now, I do ramp things up if I need to. Yeah. Obviously, there are lots of techniques in that, but I don't know if I should go into that on here or what you really want me to say.
Well, what about the technique? So when I do your workshops and you will get us to do the technique where we imagine that the roots are coming out of our feet and going into the earth to the crystals, and then we imagine that a cloak is on us as well.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, let's discuss that. That's a nice one. Yeah, so I always get my clients, any workshop, because we don't know what people come in with. We all carry baggage from daily life. You don't know what people are going through in the background, do you? So basically, in my workshops, we get the roots then. Getting their roots to go down and finding like an earth stone or a crystal, because it could be anything that presents itself to you, as long as it's healing and protective. And I will get them to anchor their roots right in or wrap around, because again, individual person. And then I want them to sense that protective energy coming up. So when I'm opening up my clients to do any spiritual work, because it's very important that you open them up and especially closing them down after, I get them to do chakra work, so we get clearing any stagnant, any negative energy that they may be holding on to. And then as they're working their way up, obviously then we get this protective bubble coming down and around 360 degrees. And again, the bubble could be any colour. And then I always, that's what I've been taught, is to put that protective cloak around you and put the hood up and the veil down over your face. But this cloak can come down, obviously, down to your feet. And this makes you, I always visualise it as making it deflective to any unwanted or untoward energies. I normally find that does work, but again, like if the energy is heavy around you, it's like any big waterproof coat. Sometimes energy can get in, but that is also life. But I feel it's very important when teaching my students that, because when you are working, obviously within a group setting, like without being rude, you don't know what people are bringing in, but it's about protecting yourself. Some people may not believe this in working with spirit, that you're always protected. Now, I come from the spirit release background where I release spirits. I work with the energy of homes, houses, people. And you have to, for me, you have to protect yourself. Yeah. You really, really do. Because it's like when I've had people come in playing with spirit talkers, obviously that's not what I do. And then they've got attachments to them. So when I'm in class, people are protected. And then, So yeah,
and it's really helped me, because when I first met you, you were aware that I had something attached to me, like some sort of negative residual energy, and I was going through a bit of a rubbish time. Absolutely. And you really helped me clear that. And then I sometimes experience things, and I think depending on where I am in my life or what's going on, I think with anyone, especially people who are more open or more into the spirituality side of things, or they're a practitioner of the craft, they cannot have those experiences. And you have helped me so much with just protecting my home as well, and protecting my space, especially when I sleep, because you know what my sleep is like.
That's a big one when you sleep, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because your physical body's resting, but the spirit body isn't. So,
not at all.
I'm a very big believer in protecting your home, your space, land and whatnot. And for me, I know when I haven't done it.
Yeah.
And I know the stuff will either go wrong or my energy will change. I don't want to sound a big headed, but I know when my energy changes, and I know when people around me are changing because of how my body energy reacts, and what I pick up on, and also what I sense and see and feel as well.
Yeah, and you said that your body is your barometer.
Absolutely,
you're very in tune.
Absolutely. I mean, if you would have asked me this back 5 years ago, I probably would have been still quite anxious, stuff like that. And I now always trust my intuition, because your body's your biggest barometer. I'm a big believer that thousands of years ago, we would have been more in tune. You know, you go back to your hunter-gatherer, you know, the way
our
that
fight-flight response.
absolutely,
Yeah,
even the way the wind
system.
changes,
Uh-huh.
the little subtle cues, you know, like the little dots, you know, that just, we have lost touch of ourselves.
Yes.
And I believe, well, I'm going like, what am I now? Oh God, 39. I believe that it's only now things are starting to change, you know, where people are realising there is more to us. You know, we do have our sixth sense.
Yeah.
We are learning to trust our intuition.
Yeah.
I do believe over the past few hundred years, we weren't made to trust our intuition or allowed to. You think you've got your TVs, your social media, everything that now is distracting.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I say, it's only been since the past few years for me that I feel, maybe that's just because of my own journey, that people are starting to now rely. And now I will never discredit my intuition, no matter what people tell me, because I tell you what, I have not trusted my intuition and it's kicked me in the ass a little bit later on. So now I always trust my gut.
I think, do you think people find it difficult to know if it's their intuition or their ego and which one to trust?
Oh my God, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, when I first started this journey, I'm not going to lie, I had an ego. I think it's like, oh, I've had an awakening, you know, but hasn't everyone? Hasn't everyone? So with me, because I'm quite sensitive to energy, I will pick up on other people's energies, and that's when I have to learn to discern what is mine and what is others. Yeah. And I normally find, because now I'm very well versed in the ground and protecting and stuff like that, I know what is my energy, and my body will give me clues or cues, however you want to say it, to what is someone else's. So I've learned, you know, I've taught my body, or my body has given me, or spirit has given me. So basically, if I will do, let's say one thing that happens. So if I'm around people, okay, and I feel like I'm on a ship, all right, so the ground starts from going underneath me, I know that I'm being undermined. And then I'll start wheedling people out, you know, and then when I say wheedling, energetically start tuning in, and I will normally find that it will be an energy line to one person, and then something will happen maybe the week after, a month after, but that is my body or spirit saying someone's undermining you, or energetically, and that's when I know, right, I have to up the you know.
Yeah, and I know that you do a lot to protect your peace as well, which is so important. You're very boundary, which I really respect.
Absolutely, and I think you have to be. I mean, especially with the work. Oh God, that's the dog.
Doris.
Yeah, especially with the work that you do. You know, I love my line of work. I really, really do. I'm a very big believer with mental health and spiritual awakenings and helping people find their ways. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have come across people, and I've had to say, you know, you have to go to your doctor, you know, because there is elements of mental health.
Yeah, and you have a duty of care.
Absolutely. But then there's some people that come to me and they are going through an awakening, but you have to also protect your peace, because I do work with vulnerable people. Yeah. You know, I really, really do.
Yeah. So this is going to be a nice little segue into your one-to-one work and stuff. And you did mention earlier chakras, and I know that you are a Reiki practitioner, and you've done Reiki with me, which has been really wonderful. And it'd be nice if we could talk a little bit about that, about the clients that come to you, and the sort of, if anyone who doesn't really know what Reiki is, but they've heard of it and I'd like to know more.
Yeah, so, there she comes, hang on, there's the dog coming up. So Reiki is obviously a Japanese palm healing technique, and that is channeled for the highest good. And what we do is we work on the 7 main chakras, even though we have got lots of other chakras. Each of the chakras, I'll be here all day if we need to talk about it, do different things. And when we are aligned, we obviously feel really good, but it doesn't take much to knock sometimes a chakra out. So obviously, like for me, the biggest one is the root chakra. If that is out with someone, you may be feeling really ungrounded. Obviously your solar plex, that's your life force, that regulates your emotions. So you normally find people holding that area. So anyone sort of like doesn't know what I'm on about, the solar plex, that's sort of above the belly button. So if you find that yourself, you're holding it, it could be that, you know, you're having energy being drained from you that way. So really the purpose of Reiki is just to, like, for me, it just gives people that bit of peace, you know, it shifts any unwanted. When I say unwanted, you know, we all collect stuff within our auric field. Just helps to clean, well, I say clean, shouldn't I? Clear that energy off, you know, to balance and realign, because we always work on our physical body, our mental body, you know, but no one works, well, I say no one, a lot of people forget about their spiritual body, and that is really, really important. So it's literally, I call it the like rest, renewal, and just to rebalance and recalibrate, and to become more in line. Because in that way, like if your chakras are in balance, and for me, you're thinking more clearly, you're feeling better.
Yeah. How long have you been practicing Reiki for now?
Oh my God. So I started in 2018 having my own treatments, and that was a journey finding the right Reiki master teacher. I tell you that now. I had quite a journey. I had a couple of nice sessions, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple of scary ones, not with the right people, and I did go on a journey through teachers and healers, and I'm a big believer, and I will openly say this. I say this to all my students, and I say this to all my clients, that if I'm not the right person for you, just let me know, because your energy has to match. It really, really, really does. But long story short, I found a lovely lady who was my Reiki master teacher, and I remember going to her, right, and she sat there and she listened to me, and I was like, I want to learn Reiki, because obviously I was doing this thing, like, I know it sounds a bit weird, like stroking myself, like, my arms, my legs, trying to push stuff off me.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I just knew I needed Reiki, and I'd never heard of it before, but it was just like something came along on the spirit line. And then they said, like, like this, it obviously came to me. So anyway, went on this journey, and then I found my Reiki master teacher. She listened to me, and then she was like, I'm not teaching you Reiki. I'm like, and I got really like, you what? And she's like, I'm not teaching you. I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah.
Like, it's meant to be open to everyone. She went, because I'm telling you now, if I attune you, you're going to end up section. And I'm like, what? And she was like, you need healing first. If you don't want it, and she was very boundaried, and this is probably where, like, now I'm boundaried.
Yeah.
You can have, but I'm not doing it for you.
No.
I'm not taking that responsibility. So I had a lot of sessions with her, and I thought a bit of it was like, fuck you. In the whole, like, how dare you tell me no? But actually, because we hold trauma within our body, like, I mean, I was having EGMR therapy, and I could feel this energy wanting to come out, and like, I remember the therapist going, can you release it? And I'm like thinking, no, I have to go see my teacher, and this is how I got into like energy removals and that. And I just remember now, like, going back, the amount of healing sessions, and it was actually needed, because Reiki can make you have a healing crisis, because it brings stuff up to the surface for it to be released. And I mean, like, I call it the spiritual shit shovel, if I'm quite honest with you, because it works on all these different energetic layers, and you'll be surprised at what your body holds, going back from birth, maybe past life stuff. And it was bringing up a lot. Don't get me wrong, no Reiki sessions that are the same. I have some amazing ones. I've had some, when I say brutal, like, it brings stuff up, shaking after, asking my body, releasing. And I think after quite a lot, I was ready. But I'm so glad she did that, because when I had my attunement, a lot of stuff got brought up.
Yeah.
Like, it brought stuff up, and I would have never been able to handle my attunement. So I'm eternally grateful for her. And then I said to her, I'm going to become a Reiki master teacher. It's like anything. If someone tells me I'm not going to be able to do it, I'm going to do it. So I basically progressed through the levels, but it took me years.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do me one, then me two. I think if I had my way, I would have been like 1, 2. But obviously it took me years, like 3-4 years, to become a Reiki master, and then to do my final teachers. But she was strict. She was methodical, but God, don't I love her.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that, though.
Absolutely, and I am forever, ever grateful. She taught me grounding. She taught me protection. She taught me a lot, even without teaching me or going to her for teaching, from having them Reiki sessions myself, like, what got brought up, what I was releasing, I've actually banged her head a few times against the wall. I always say that. I probably was like greatest project, She put a lot of time and effort, but I wanted the healing. I was going to her, and that's the thing. Like, you have to want the healing to go for it, and I wanted to heal.
Yeah.
And that's then what led me then into the past life regression therapy, which led me into the spirit release therapy, It was such a journey, and I'm forever grateful. Yeah.
Wow. That
but it's a nice therapy. For me, that was probably where I needed to start, But again, it brought up a lot for me, but forever grateful.
Yeah.
And I still have it to this day. I haven't just gone, oh, I'm trained in it now. I still have Reiki therapy, and quite often to these days, to keep myself aligned and balanced. So when I'm working with other clients, because obviously, again, grounded, protected, so I don't take on their energy. Obviously, I channel the Reiki energy through me. It's very good. It's best practice that I also have Reiki therapy from, obviously, again, my Reiki master teacher. Because again, you need to look after yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. And this is the thing. I think people come with an expectation as well. So I'm going to get this out there about healers. Like, they have such an expectation that you're going to have one session and cure them. It's not about that. I can walk alongside you. I can guide you, but you have to do that work yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, like I said, I've had clients come to me expecting miracle cures, and it's not about that. Yes, you know, I've had people from tumours that have been suicidal, you know, who just want a bit of R&R, that have gone through all different sorts of trauma, of abuse that you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
And obviously all my sessions are private and confidential, but we can work together. I can't, you know, but they have to do the inner work.
And they have to be ready as well. They have to want to do it. They have to feel ready to do it, because people can want to get better but actually not be ready.
And that's it. And, you know, when you have sessions with me, every person's different. You know, every session's different. And that's why I say, you know, with the journey, when I met my Reiki master teacher, she was like, I'm not teaching you. I knew she was the one for me, because she didn't tell me what I wanted to hear at that time. And this is when I say to my students, if I'm not the right person for you, I'm not going to be offended, because I have knocked other people back myself, you know, when I thought I was going to go train in being a shaman, you know, and all that kind of stuff, that wasn't right for me. And that's fine. You have to gel with that person. We're all energy.
I think a lot of people are very scared of saying no these days.
Don't be afraid to say no. I mean, I've had clients come to me and they've had Reiki and they said, this is not for me. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. There's other therapy. You know, I may not be the right person for you, but I can surely signpost you to another person.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. You have to resonate. You know, don't ever be frightened to saying no.
You run Little White Spells.
Yes,
which is your company.
do. Yeah.
And you run Witchy workshops in Liscard.
Well, it was in Liscard. Obviously, I'm trying to branch out, but it's gone more readings and all that lot as well. Yeah, so what I've done is obviously trained in different modalities, and what I've tried to do is pull everything, well, I say everything, certain aspects, because a lot of it, I've spent thousands upon thousands of my training, self-development, you name it. You know, I've put my heart into it. So what I've tried to do is pull elements together to run workshops. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've been a bit slack recently. Pull stuff together to teach other people, so where it's not too in depth, but, and I don't want to say basic either, where people feel that they can come and no one's better than anyone else. I'm not better than you, you're not better than me, because I still get taught this day from people. You know, but it's creating that safe community where we can learn, we can talk, you know, we can learn of each other. So
what sort of things have you done in your workshops?
Oh, so we've done all sorts, haven't we? Let's just be honest. So we do all sorts of readings, sensing energy. It works better, I'm not going to lie, when people don't know, because when you've got a group of friends, they all know each other.
Trickier.
It is trickier, isn't it? We are doing readings, we are doing like crystal readings, intuitive readings, psychometry.
I love psychometry.
So much, you know, we make stuff as well, because like, you know, like spell jars. Oh my god, what else did we do? Oh, the witches sachets, didn't we?
Yes, we did the witches sachets,
We've done quite a bit, actually. I mean,
we did tea leaf reading.
We did tea leaf reading. I know, my brain's now going ding, 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 ding. Intuitive candles I've done. Yeah, I just do a little bit of all sorts. It's just to bring like a community together, so it's not all like work, but it's just being fun and creative.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Let's talk about the psychometry session, because that was the last one that I went to, and I came away buzzing from that session, because I didn't realise. Again, it's sometimes you don't really. It's trusting yourself and trusting your intuition.
It's getting out of your own head.
Getting out of your own head, and I thought, oh, I'm just not getting any of this. And when we revealed everything at the end, I was like, oh, I got it right. Like,
I know. But obviously psychometry is sense and energy from an object. I try to keep it just as psychic during my groups, if I'm quite honest, and not mediumship. And so I got everyone that attended to bring an object, and from their home or a loved one or anything like that. With psychometry, you don't tell people what you've got, so I made them put it under like a short blanket. And then I added in a couple of extra objects just in case someone picked up one of their own or got left with one of their own. And then everyone picked an object that wasn't theirs. And then obviously I opened people up, I did all the grounding, the protection, made sure everything was sealed. And then I got people to, like I say, pick an object. And then I got them just to hold it, look at it, feel it. And then I got them writing down everything that they felt, saw, a whole lot. And then one by one I made them all give a reading, and then to see if it resonated with the person whose object it was. And everyone got it bang on.
We did,
bang on. And I think some people were quite surprised with some of the information that got brought up. Even in my workshop, I make sure things are kept quite safe. So like obviously everyone thinks, oh my god, they're going to read me like an open book. It's not about that. So I always make sure that some messages are delivered sensitively as well, and respectfully.
That was an incredible workshop. As a practitioner, would you call yourself a witch?
Yeah, I suppose now I would. Yeah. I think back then I was like, in the closet.
In the broom closet.
In the broom closet. In the closet. But I don't put a label on it. So I don't follow. I do me.
Yes.
All right. And I think I have to get this out there. I research. I read. I don't follow any sabbats. I forget the fucking moon. I'm not going to lie. I even got my moonology book. I have worked the moon before. I do. If I'm doing spell work or anything like that, I will look at correspondence and stuff like that. But I follow my gut and my intuition. I mean, you can see all my fucking books lined up along there. I just pull information together.
Yeah.
I'm not a white witch. I'm not a dark witch. I'm just me. I am, when I say all love and light, I do stuff for the good, but I will always do what I need to energetically to protect myself. So whether that falls under the black magic, I'm not going to lie, probably have done, or I have done, but that's to protect. Yeah. So maybe it's a grey witch. I don't know. I do me. I think
with witchcraft, it is so individual and unique to how you practice your own craft. There are obviously different ways of doing things, and there's covens, and there's, people might label themselves as a hedge witch because they like to go in the hedgerows and do the herbalism, or a kitchen witch, like to have all their magic when they're cooking in the kitchen. Or
but do a little bit of that when you're cooking, isn't it? With all the herbs and that. I bless the food and stuff like that.
Or there's something called an eclectic witch, which is where you just take from all different sorts of things. And
maybe that's what I am.
But I think the beauty with the craft is that you can just
it's a personal journey.
It's a personal journey. Yeah. It doesn't kind of sort of discriminate or tell you, oh, you should be doing this way, you should be doing it that way.
Absolutely. And this is what, and I have been on a journey and I have been to different groups, but if people always teach their way, and this is what I do in my workshops. I always say, this is how I'm teaching you, but do you.
Yeah.
Obviously, Freyja knows that I'm very anal on my ground and protection, and that is one thing I try to home in for my students. Yeah. But just do you. You can follow whatever path, as long as you're not doing no harm.
Yeah.
Like I say, I will always do what I need to protect myself. But, yeah, I mean, I don't like being told what to do. I will always take advice and guidance. And I am not going to lie, I have done spell work and it has kicked me in the ass. Like, I've had
to learn a lesson from it.
Big time. Energetic kickbacks. I mean, like I say, ground and protect, and I have, like I said, done spell work, and it's come back because I will hear, this energy is going to be redirected, and it's gone bang, and something's happened to me, and I've gone, I know exactly what that is from, but you've got to learn the lesson, haven't you? And do you know what? Maybe that's the beauty of it, and that's how you learn. Yeah. That is how you learn.
We can't get it perfect every time.
No.
Because we're human and we're imperfect people.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's like the karma law, isn't it? You do it threefold. I just think sometimes, what you put out, you can get back, but also again, it's different for everyone. Everyone, like I say, depending on what you're doing, different reasons, isn't it?
You said about black magic or grey magic and being a grey witch. I think my personal opinion is magic is magic. It's not it's not light, it's not dark, it's not grey. It's whatever your intention is.
Absolutely. Right. So you'll have people that say if you do something to someone, then that, you know, like for example, the classic freezer spell, like, yes. You know, when you know, someone's doing you wrong, so you put them in the freezer to stop that energy. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, if you're protecting yourself, then I don't class that as black, you know. Yeah. If I was to go out and get my voodoo doll and start stabbing it for no reason, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Stabbing it, that's going to have consequences. That's going to have consequences energetically, and that's what could be classed as black. But then you can also use your doll for healing. It's very much how you perceive it. Yes. I mean, if I, like I say, for example, if we're going back into the protection thing, if I've had some energy thrown my way, and I'm like, right, I'm going to go talk to this person, and it can't be resolved, but energetically I'm feeling stuff. I've discerned my energy. I know it's not mine. I've checked in numerous times. I may have even had a healing session or something, and they're like, no, you're on balance, you're in tune, but actually you've got a little something sticky. Right now I've got confirmation that this isn't going to be resolved, but you're still chucking energy my way. Again, I'm very highly sensitive to energy, so now I will start energetically putting my walls up, putting my bubble up, putting my cloak up, and then I will start practicing, and that is when things like, you know, and all stuff like that. But that is never to cause harm. No, you know, I would never expect, you know, someone to break a leg or anything like that, but you will get your energy thrown back at you. Yeah, you know, deflect back. Or, you know, and that's So you also sometimes tell us when we're doing our meditation to ground and protect ourselves to imagine that we are in a cloak that's like a mirror ball. Yes. So it reflects if anyone bears this ill will, it will reflect back onto them. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people that do all this love and the love and light. Yeah. And I think we can do that. We can send out, and I do that, by the way. I don't think, you know, I reflect everything back. I will send healing out to a situation. You do. You know, so say, for example, if I had a fallout, I would send healing to a situation to try and heal the situation. Yeah. If I feel like it needs healing and we can come to a compromise, you know, and I will send that healing energy out. I will try to heal that energy line. But if I know in my heart that it is not being either reciprocated or it's not wanted, or they are ramping things up that end, then that's when I will do my mirror, you know, and then to flex it back, because I'm not having it, you know. I'm not taking on other people's shit. I've done that enough in my lifetime. Yeah. So, and we have our own shit to deal with a lot of the time. Absolutely. We haven't got the time. I know. I haven't got the time for the bullshit either. No. I really haven't. Or other people's stuff, you know. And I don't mean that horrible. I don't go out to, you know, hurt people or anything like that. I'm really, really not. But I've now learnt the value of energy and my own energy, and actually the cost of it from pouring from an empty cup or dealing with drama that's not my own. No. What is your favourite form of divination? Because I know you do. What do you really like to do? What's your favourite? I do like my cards, I'm not going to lie. Channeling, remote viewing. Yeah, really. Remote viewing fascinates me, because I know that the CIA did it. We could get into a whole podcast episode. I say that. It's because I say remote viewing. I work with my guide, and for anyone knows, being in Cornwall, I see a wizard. I don't give a shit what people think, okay? And I do. The way I call him is I actually call him Merlin, and there is a long story behind that. So let's get into that. Let's do it. So everyone's thinking, God, here we go. Oh, people who are listening love this sort of stuff. I love this episode. This is why I do it, because I love listening to it. So I obviously love Sword and Stone. That has always been my first classic, right? So I'm probably mad at Mim. Oh my gosh. This is the timing for this right now is incredible, because my friend Carly just released an episode on Merlin. She referenced the Sword and the Stone. She referenced Madam Mim. She did a whole episode on it. And now that you're talking about it, I don't even know her. No, just synchronizing somehow. This is it. So basically, everyone's like, when you start this journey, you're like, oh my God, I'm connecting to spirit. And then you've got to discern spirits, by the way, because not everyone, again, is love and light up there, and they will pretend to be someone that they're not. Yeah. But that is maybe a whole different podcast. So anyway, I'm like, who's my spirit guide? Who's my spirit guide? Who's my spirit guide? You know, like, come on, get into spiritual journey. And I thought they would be like, you know, like you say, like, who's my spirit guide? I'm expecting to see them. They'll come walking in going, this is me. Didn't happen like that, I'll tell you that now. And a lot of people will tell you. So I'm there for ages going, well, who's my guide? Like, you know, I'm starting to sense, I'm starting to feel, you know, they're talking about people talking about gatekeepers, you know, who's my one protecting me, you know. And obviously my granddad in spirit was the one a lot protecting me at the beginning. But as I started to develop, a new energy was stepping forward. I'm like, well, who is he? Like, or who's she, you know, or they? And then it was really, really weird. I remember going up into the loft of my parents' house and there being this wizard teddy. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember that from when I was fighting. You really used to like that teddy, like the wizard that looked like Merlin. And that was that, right? Didn't think anything of it. And then, oh my God, where was I? Yeah, so I was seeing that teddy and then I came back down. And then I was driving to Lou, and on the way back out from Lou to where I live, there is a wizard, right? So that was happening quite often. And then I was driving around and there's a removal company. Now, I don't know if it's a hire drive or a removal company. And it's a picture of wizard that says Merlin on it, right? I know, right? So I kept seeing this all the time. And then I was still going, still don't know who my guide is. Still don't know who my guide is or what they're called. So then I was driving to work, because I used to work for a charity, and going down to Newquay area. On the big billboard was this removal company of the wizard saying Merlin, right? Yeah, I know, okay? And then I ended up working with someone called Merlin. I know, right? And then again,
and you're still going, but who is my guy?
Who is?
And the universe like, Chell. We couldn't make it any more obvious.
Right, well, now listen to this, right? So that's why I do swear. I'm asleep, right? And I've gone into this, obviously, into a dream. And I'm in this dream, I'm going into an antique shop, all right? And there's little trinkets, like little cup of teapots, you name it. And then in the middle of this antique shop, obviously in my dream, is a big wizard with a staff. After that, so when I'm channeling or I'm doing trance work, clearings, she calls me Merlin.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I love it. So I work, so channeling him and that energy is my favourite form. And then obviously doing the spirit release therapy work, clearing entities, energies, negative stuff, and just making sure people are okay. I love that element of the work. So
what is really interesting is, as I was travelling down to see you today, I was on the A30 and I was coming up behind this van, and as I was getting closer to this van, it was a big white van, like a camper van, and at the top of the van there was a symbol, and as I got closer to it, I realised it was the pentangle, so like the pentagram in the circle. I think that's right. And I was like, oh, great, awesome. And then I could see through the big back window, because it was like a camper van, and I could see all of these little charms hanging down inside the van, like little witchy hats and stuff. And I was like, this is such a confirmation.
Absolutely.
And then I had to sort of overtake, and I thought I was going to see a witch driving it, because I could see this person's hat as they were driving in the van. It was just great. And then as I looked, I was being very careful when I was driving, but as I looked to see, it was actually a man, and he had like a big witch's hat on and a big beard. I instantly got wizard in my brain. I was like, it's a wizard. And I mean, I don't call like anyone who is male or who identifies as male, who practices the craft, I don't call them wizards or warlocks. Like, if they want to be called that, that's fine. If they identify as that, that's fine. But sometimes I'll just think, a witch, because I feel like it's non-gender specific. Talking about witches on whatever gender you identify as, but I literally just got that in my head. Oh, wizard! I was on my way to see you as well. Like, it was meant to be.
Absolutely, I love it. Signs and synchronicities. The universe will always tell you, and it will always show you. Like I say, when I was doing, obviously trying to find out who my guide was, I literally expected them to come walking through the front door, like, here I am. This is my name. It's not like that.
No.
If it is for you, fair play. But it certainly wasn't like that for me. It wasn't like that.
How do you find the witchy community down here in Cornwall?
Oh, yeah. So I have met some amazing people on my journey down here. I've met some amazing people. I've met some non-amazing people. But then again, like, each person's journey is so different, and you gravitate. And I do think it's lessons being learnt as well, from different communities. Some can be quite closed, I think. Some can be really open and welcoming, and it is really like finding your tribe.
Sure.
I mean, I've joined different people, different witches, different workshops, learned that way, been taught by different people. Is there much where I don't really know? I think there is a coven around here, and I think that's one that you have to be invited into. But for me, I think I'm such an individual solo person. Yeah. Just, at the moment, I haven't really come across that kind of stuff. I think that may be more further down Cornwall, but I just do me, if I'm really honest. I just do me. I don't know. Like I say, I love learning from people, but I like to put my own twist on it.
Yeah.
I really, really do. But
you add your own little spice.
Absolutely, because it's all individual. Like they say, you improvise. If you haven't got a black candle, use a white candle.
It's versatile.
Absolutely.
What so we've talked about your favourite tools of divination, and I know you've got lots of tools all over the place. Are there any? I know you've got loads of books, which is the question I'm coming to. What book would you recommend for someone who was starting to get into spirituality? Or
do you know what? It's not probably a spiritual book. My favourite book of all time is Many Lives, Many Masters.
Many Lives, Many Masters. Who's
by
that
Dr. Brian Weiss. And he was a big medical psychiatrist, and I think this is in America. Obviously could cure anyone with medication.
Yeah.
Okay, very much medicine orientated. And again, this is not a go at the medical world, far from it. I've been under, the EI team for 3 years back in the day. I owe a lot to them. But they couldn't cure a girl, or he couldn't. A girl called Catherine, I believe, of her anxiety or anything like that. So he went into regression, and as he went into regression, each session, she started to get better. But as he was progressing her, he started having an awakening himself. He saw the other side.
Wow.
And that's what got me started. From someone that was very high up in the, I'm going to say, I presume pharmaceutical, don't quote me on that, but very much high up in the medicine world of curing people with antidepressants and stuff like that. And there is a place for medication, by the way. I'm not saying to people, don't, but he couldn't cure this lady, and it was only regression that in the end guides were speaking to him.
Wow.
So that is my favourite starting point, because that is someone that did non-believer.
Yeah, and that mind opening.
Yeah. So that is my favourite spiritual book of all time.
Yeah. You talked about how you do spell work, and you have learnt lessons from some spells, as you said, biting you or kicking you in the arse.
Yeah, kickbacks.
What has been the most, without going into too much detail, because I know spell work is very personal, what has been the most, or one of the most successful spells, or most positive experiences from a spell that you've done?
Well, I suppose with, I don't know if I can disclose that.
No, that's fine.
I do a lot of clearing work. That's all you need. Clearing.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
And this is why I love you, Chell, because you're so boundary as well. Yeah.
With the clearing comes after healing.
Yeah.
So it's I'm very much boundary again.
No, that's absolutely
with the clearing comes healing after.
You work with spirit. You have experiences, ever since you were young as a psychic medium. Do you notice the energy really ramp up this time of year?
Yeah, for me it's been ramped up, especially this year.
Yeah.
For me, I start seeing a little bit more, feeling a little bit more energetically, whether that would be spirit or people as well. Again, highly sensitive. If I'm really honest, with the season changes, I don't do a lot of rituals or energy work or anything like that. It's not one that I've really been into.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really honest with you. I know people will celebrate this different seasons and stuff like that. Sometimes I just forget. I do notice stuff, and at the moment I'm doing a lot of work with the ancestors, my ancestors, and honouring that. Love that side of it. So, I've got photos upstairs of my nan and my granddad. I don't know if any of you have been on my page at White Spells, where actually there was a photo of my nan and granddad with my name, Michelle. And that was taken by my mum when she was a young girl, probably under the age of 10.
Yeah.
All right. Before I was even had.
Were you even a little twinkle in her eye?
I know, right? And then when Mum had me, she wanted to call me Sammy Joe. And my dad was like, no, she's being called Michelle. And then my mum said, well, with one L. And then obviously my dad said, no, with two L's. And it wasn't until a couple of weeks ago this photo appeared.
Yeah.
Because I'm, doing ancestor stuff, trying to honour them. And I'm like, this photo with my name. But my mum wouldn't have even, she's like, what the hell? I'm like, look, and I actually lived with my nan for a very long time. And this name was right next to my nan.
Do you know what's really interesting about that is with female lineage, you as an egg would have been in your grandmother's womb.
I know.
How incredible is that?
I know. But that photo, do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't meant to be called Michelle. My dad called me that. And yet it was there in black and white. Like, literally, they know, don't they? My nan wouldn't have known, but
it was like in there somewhere.
And I'm trying to figure out like where my gifts came from. My obviously uncle can see and hear. Whether that has come down from my nan or my mum's side or my granddad, because my granddad used to say, I don't worry about the ghost Jasper. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I've obviously got my dad's side, but obviously there's some family members that we don't know in regards to like the real dad and stuff like that. So it's always very interesting. I know I've got heritage from Ireland, Scotland. So it's just trying to honour the ancestors and their gifts, because some people like to clear the trauma through the ancestors, and absolutely, because trauma does get passed down energetically, but we forget to claim our strengths and our gifts. Really, really do. So that is what I'm in the process of doing.
That sounds incredible. What a journey to be going on.
Absolutely. Without screaming at the photograph going, what have you got? Because again, you get caught up in your head sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Oh, it's really nice that you're researching your family history. I've been doing it for a long time, and you do meet dead ends.
Well, this is it, because I wanted to go back, but because of my family from Ireland, and it goes back, obviously the records got bombed, didn't they? So there is no records, and so it's just learning to be still and be quiet and just seeing, some photos have come my way, and I believe they come my way for a reason. But it'd be nice if I can keep going back with photos and that. But just get to see what you get drawn to, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Shelley, you're a Cornish maid. Yeah. Do you believe in the Cornish folklore down here, like the piskies and the tommyknockers?
Oh, absolutely.
Love it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You don't piss off the piskies. You will definitely get pisky led, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'm sorry for you after this podcast later.
Well, they do. I've been on many wood trails on a little hunt, and they will, if there's something that's not meant to be found, it won't be. Yeah, absolutely. I do believe in our folklore down here.
Yeah. I know. I love, this is what I love about Cornwall, is that it's so spiritual and the land is so ancient. But especially if you are Cornish born and bred, you don't piss off the piskies.
No, and the elementals. No, they will defend their land. And one thing I've learned, because obviously where I live and the land based, is I'm learning to be more in tune with the land, and I can feel sometimes if something's about to happen, the energy will dip. Yeah. And the land has a way of sorting stuff out, or the feeling and the notions. I'm not one. I used to go make offerings. I'm not going to lie, but the intention's there. Land is very healing for me. Absolutely.
Are you happy to talk about the land that we're on today?
Yeah, that's fine.
We can do a little bit about Porfell as well.
Yeah. So I live on a wildlife site, a sanctuary. That's got a lot of land to it. We're a sanctuary for unwanted animals. Work on the land as well as the keeper. We've got the trees, the stream, and all like that, and I absolutely love it. There's certain parts of the land which I'm not going to disclose, but I go on, and it's like a recharge, and it's just like I can see the energy barriers. It's weird because sometimes it's like sectioned, like this is my section, this is my section, like of energy. And it's sometimes you're like walking through energy barriers, and there's some areas where you think, oh, what's going on down there today? And like it's like being told not to come down today. So God knows what's going on in that area. And then other areas you're like, I'm breathe, and it's so lovely. And I just like to send out a lot of healing to the land now, because we forget to do that, don't we? We really forget.
And I was talking to someone the other day about how we are affected by trauma, but so is the land. Especially with war, the earth can get scorched, right?
Absolutely,
so, it has to heal.
And we don't know what's gone on fast. I know we've had the civil war up the road, but you just don't know what's gone on with the land, what's buried underneath, what we've done to the land, what we've buried on. Our energy, our footprints. Our energy. for example, I know that in some countries people won't build on the land because of the elementals, and that they get pissed off with it. And obviously, there's certain areas here we don't build, and I think if we were to, I know that they're gonna throw energy back, you know. But it's having that healthy compromise, like we have to live here. We have the animals.
Yeah.
You know, there is going to be some building work.
Yeah.
A tree is going to be chopped down, I'm afraid. I can't help that if it's got to die back, you know. Yeah, however, I will try to do what I can to compensate, you know. So it's trying to keep it a balance and absolutely that respect. Just being mindful, you know, go back to the pagan days where they worshipped everything. You know, they were here before us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They were here before us.
And they will be here long after us.
Oh, absolutely.
As well.
We're going to time away from it, wipe us out.
I've always, when people talk about the doom and gloom, I always say, that's going to be fine. Do what she needs to do. She will heal, absolutely. But we will not be here.
No, and that's it, isn't it? Like, with natural disaster, you know, without getting too much into it, Mother Nature knows what she's doing. Yeah. She knows what she's doing, and she's been doing it since day dot. I mean, look at the new islands up here in the middle of the sea, you know. Yeah. She knows what she's doing. She's a living and breathing organism. Absolutely.
So what are your future plans for Little White Spells and for Poor Fell Wildlife Park as well?
So me and my husband are leaving mother-in-law, bless her. So she built this place with her husband with her bare hands, and for that to continue, obviously, within the family. Absolutely. It's been going 37 years. And we're not going to change the notion of it. So obviously that's just coming down the family line. Oh, Little White Spells, that will just have to run alongside it. Yeah. You know, Little White Spells is my baby, I'm not going to lie, but so is now Poor Fell. So it's learning to manage them two together.
Balancing them.
But the land, the animals, healing, it all goes hand in hand. Yeah. To be a guardian of the land energetically as well, protector of it. I also kind of see that. There's not much more. When I say learning, I don't mean like I don't want to learn anymore, because I'm learning every day. I learn from people. But spirit release therapy was my last big one, I think. So it's just really homing in on that. But it will be now delivering more workshops and more physical teaching. Anything, you know, we've all got a life in the background, haven't we? So, you know, life chucks us curveballs sometimes. So, but it's now developing, I think, a bit more online classes just to reach a lot of people. Obviously, people can still come to, you know, Little White Spells and actually get some dates in the diary again for some physical workshops. I just think, with anything, it's just, you know, at the moment I'm concentrating on building the land up, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
So if people want to contact you to either come to Poor Fell for the day when you're open, or they want to contact you for a healing, a reading.
Little White Spells, you know, obviously I've got all my information on littlewhitespells.com. Please just message me though through Facebook.
Okay.
Because I don't like technology. People book it, I'm just like,
it's a cruel mistress.
I know, like trying to, because I juggle so many plates. So if you need to contact me, have a look at my website, have a look at what I do, but just pop me a message through Facebook, or that my number will be there.
Yeah, so, you've got your website as well. Yeah, and I will link to your Facebook page and your website in the show notes.
If you want a therapy, just come message me privately.
Do you have Instagram?
Do you know what? I do. So you can message me through that. But again, Facebook it's just too. It's just too. I don't.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is a lot to juggle, and again, it's that social battery, isn't it? Again, I can find that very overwhelming. It's just it can suck you in a little bit. Yeah. I like getting out. I like nature. Yeah. But those that need to find me know how to get on with me. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Chell, thank you so much.
Worries.
I have had such a lovely time.
Me too.
Just shooting the breeze with you, shooting the spiritual breeze.
Absolutely.
And thank you for being so open as well and honest.
That's it. And like questions. I said, like obviously this will be our first podcast, but we can delve into other stuff.
Absolutely, I'm going to be having you back on for certain things. That remote viewing is going to be coming.
Yeah, give me time to prepare for that one.
This was just a nice little chat.
Absolutely, but like I say, you know, do you find the right mentors that resonate with you, that have the same values? Like anything out there, you have your good and your bad, all right? Find what resonates with you. I had a journey. It doesn't mean everyone else is going to have the same journey. It is very personal. I don't, as like I say, it's not that I don't like being told what to do. I just do me. And I think that's just the best way. And when I teach, I will teach from my perspective, but as Freyja will tell you, it doesn't mean that I'm right and to do you. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming
No
on to the
worries, darling.
podcast.
All
Thank
right,
you.
no, thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed listening to this episode with Chell. We could have continued talking for hours, and her dog Doris is so cute. I do look forward to having her back on the podcast for another episode. Chell's book recommendation, website, and Facebook pages are all linked in the show notes for you to go and visit. Please just be aware that Poor Fell Wildlife Park is now closed until April next year. So we're now at that point in the podcast where I will be talking about the witchy events that are coming up in South Devon and Cornwall, and any local covens or sister circles that are having new members or welcoming in new members. So starting with the local covens and sister circles, we have Ros and Booker, one of Cornwall's longest established covens. They have been guiding seekers upon the paths of traditional initiatory witchcraft and Cornish magical practices for 25 years, and they hold meetings in North Cornwall and the Devon-Cornwall border. Applicants are welcome to introduce themselves via email. I have linked the email address in the show notes, along with their website for further information. Moving on to the Witch Weekly events. So we have the Cunning Grove again. I mentioned them in last week's podcast. The Cunning Grove are based in Plymouth, and they are a witchcraft, occult shop, and a temple. And every Saturday morning, they hold something called a Witch, Bitch, and Brew. This is from 11 a.m. until the last witch leaves. And I have linked their Facebook page in the show notes. This Saturday, the 15th of November, Willow Tree Psychic Fair are holding a Mind, Body and Spirit Fair. This will be at 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. at Bitterford Village Hall in Ivybridge, and the lovely Chell will also be doing readings there this weekend. Again, Facebook page is linked in the show notes. We have the Cabinet of Folklore and Magic in Falmouth doing their usual tarot readings this Saturday morning, and their website is linked in the show notes as well. If you listened to last week's episode with the lovely Tatiana, she is having an event this Sunday, the 16th of November. It is a playing card divination workshop. You will be joining Tatiana for a unique and creative workshop connecting with traditional playing cards in a way like never before. The workshop will take place on Sunday, the 16th of November at Penzance Spiritualist Church from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. at a cost of £15. The spaces are quite limited, so please contact Sue Payne if you would like to book a space, and I have linked Sue's telephone number for you to book in the show notes. So moving on to next week, in Launceston, Llanstefan Arts are holding a few events. The first event that we have is Tuesday, the 18th of November from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. And this is a lecture on planetary magic, the magical moon, and this is with Rebecca Beattie. This class gives you an introduction to the pre-modern planetary powers of the occult moon, and also modern practices of working with the phases of the moon. It will teach you how to identify its plants, herbs, and other correspondences so that you can learn how to work moon magic into your own personal practice and evoke its qualities of psychic ability, women's mysteries, cyclical magic, and intuition in your life. The workshop will include a guided meditation to connect with the moon's energy and end with a participatory ritual to the moon. Then on Wednesday, the 19th of November, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m., we have the Witch Choir with Holly Ann Coles. Lift your voice and spirit in an evening of magic and harmony. Join us to create enchanting music, connect with a circle of voices, and help establish the Witch Choir in North Cornwall. And I say join us because I go to the Witch Choir every month. No experience is needed, just a heart ready to wander. But spaces are limited if you want to book. And finally, on Thursday, the 20th of November, 6:30 p.m. till 8:30 p.m., a women's sharing circle will be held. It's called A Word as a Doorway. These are monthly circles, and they offer a space for us to slow down, feel what has gone unfelt, listen inward, and be witnessed without needing to explain. At the heart of each gathering is a single word, a word that opens something in us, a feeling, a memory, a wound, or a threshold. And all of these are linked in the show notes if you would like to go and book at Landstefan Arts for next week in Launceston. Moving away from Launceston now, I am shouting out Meghan Field's event, which I also gave a shout out to last week. So lovely Meghan will be holding her Sacred Kernow Circle on Thursday, the 20th of November, 7 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. at her studio in Liskeard. The theme is about sharing food and traditions from your lineage. The circles are for all who feel the call to deepen your relationship of belonging to yourself, the land you live on, your lineage, and this beautiful community. You can book via Meghan's website. There is a £10 donation, and again, her website is linked in the show notes. Moving on to next weekend, we have The Dragon and the Rose, which will be held on Saturday, the 22nd of November, 1 p.m. till 4:30 p.m. at St. Kew Parish Hall. This is a magical journey of self-discovery. Join Kelly and Claire for an afternoon of deep relaxation and spiritual connection as you align with the potent energy of the dragons and the sacred feminine energy of the rose. You will delve into the ancient energies of Avalon and the magic of working with dragons and the divine feminine. If you're curious about these energies, already work with dragons, or are just in need of some deeply nourishing self-care, then this afternoon will be magical. The investment is £57, which can be paid in 2 instalments, and there are only 6 spaces left. If you would like to book, the booking link is in the show notes. Also, next Saturday, the 22nd of November, 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. at Millennium House in Pensilva, which is outside of Liskeard, Hummingbird Events is presenting the Feel Good Festival, a festival full of arts, crafts, healers, clairvoyance, well-being talks, wellness, good food, and more. And the Facebook page is linked in the show notes. And finally, on Sunday, the 23rd of November, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. at Marazion Community Centre, an Intuitive Soul Nirvana Day is being held. The Nirvana Day is a day to create space where people can nurture and prioritise themselves by testing different healing modalities. It is also a space for gifted individuals and therapists who do not participate in most wellbeing fairs around the county. There will be free talks, workshops, and a sound bath. And this is also fundraising for West Cornwall Women's Aid. And the link is in the show notes. I think that is the most Witch Weekly events I have done so far. I'm so glad that all of you are getting in touch with me, letting me know what is going on in and around Cornwall and South Devon. If you have a witchy or spiritual event coming up and you would like me to give your event a shout out on the podcast, then please do get in touch with me. You can email me. I also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, and I have linked those in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cornish Witch Podcast. I will be back next week with another episode. And until then, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.